questions, okay? All right, so number one, part one today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the seller's market. So we're talking about buyer's agency in the seller's market, because right now a lot of agents are having problems. They're having issues. They're like really stuck in this so-called seller's market. So first of all, let's start with, what is this thing called a seller's market? Look, raise your hand. Somebody raise your hand, because I want some feedback here. Raise your hand and tell me, what's your definition of a seller's market? All right, agents, raise your hand. There we go. Thank you, Angela. Tell me the definition. What's your definition of a seller's market? Angela?
Here I am. Okay.
Hey, how are you, Angela?
I'm good. So we have more buyers out there looking for homes than homes we have available for them to see. So we just basically have low inventory. And so everybody's trying to get at the same houses, basically.
There you go. So Angela says, Luther, what I think that what this is, a great answer, great answer. There's more buyers out there than inventory. Loretta, help me, talk to me. Loretta.
Hello,
Give me a definition. What's this thing, seller's market? Loretta, talk to me.
Well, yeah, Angela's definition was actually pretty on point. We have an anemic level of inventory and tons of buyers because of low interest rates largely, and the mindset that they need to buy now so that they don't miss out. So that, again, a large number of buyers coupled with very low inventory and low interest rates has put us at the position that we're in now in the industry.
And so, Loretta, talk to me now. As a real estate agent, when there's more buyers than there's houses, you as a real estate agent have a challenge with what when you have that buyer?
You have a challenge with, well, one, you have a challenge with getting their offer accepted because you have everyone competing for the same number of houses, essentially. And you have very particular sellers. They right now, have the, they feel they have the upper hand, so they can be extremely particular as to who, wins out on purchasing their home. Classic supply and demand.
Absolutely, absolutely. Loretta, thank you. Excellent. Priscilla, talk to me.
I already put my comment in the box. So the market is in favor of the seller because whatever they ask, they will get it. Supply is less than demand. So the law of economics, when that happens, hey, the price goes, where, but the seller now is at advantage. They'll get whatever they want.
That's right. Excellent point. See, she threw a new little curve in there. She said, you know what, Luther? The seller have the upper hand, right, in this seller's market. Great comment. Edie, talk to me. Edie, what's going on? Seller's market.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Hey, Edie, how are you?
So far, so good. Seller's market basically is the sellers can be a little bit picky about whether they really want to sell or not. They want to see how much their house is worth. They want to see who's coming into their house. And that's where you try to get the people out of their house before anybody comes into the house.
That's right. And Edie's right. Edie's right. Really, all those answers was 100% right. And that causes a huge problem for us, right? Representing these buyers in this buyer's agent, in this huge seller's market. So what's the goal today? I want to give you about 6 points, right? I want to give you about 6 different things that we can do to compete, because here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. what we want to do is we want to have some strategies to help us beat the other agent. So all those agents that's not actually listening to me right now, right? They might not use the same strategy that you use. So yeah, there will be multiple offers. Yeah. Right, seller's market, there's a few houses with a whole bunch of buyers. So all these buyers are putting in offers on a few houses. We can't stop multiple offers. We can't change the market. But here's what we want to do. I want to show you about 6 things that you can do. And I want you to understand in your head, right? I want you to understand, here's what I can do to compete. Here's some strategies I can use. Maybe some strategies that I haven't been using, but I'm going to start using to compete to make my buyer offer higher or more competitive than the next. All right. So let's jump in here. Part one. What is a seller's market? We have a very low absorption rate. So what do I mean? Yes, you guys said it. There's more buyers than there is sellers. Now, we've recently come off of COVID. One thing that I haven't heard is COVID was a big part. Pent up demand, right? Pent up demand. So for the last almost 2 years, 18 months, 16 months, 24 months, whatever it is, we have had pent up demand. So we have buyers who wasn't buying. Why? COVID. We can't come out of our house. The economy got shut down. America was shut down. We couldn't do nothing. We couldn't show houses, couldn't write contracts. Now at Platinum Real Estate, we kept our business going. We was extremely blessed at Platinum Real Estate, right? We really wasn't hit because I was educating, I was coaching my agents how to go through it. But overall, everything slowed down. So there's pent up demand. Now the vaccine comes. Now we have more confidence. So now that pent up demand here, and yes, interest rates are low. Everything's still great. So now we have all these buyers and very low what? Inventory. So let's talk about some real numbers. Typically, there's about 18 months worth of homes on the market, meaning this, it would take 18 months to sell all the homes on the market. And it goes from 12 months to 14 months to 18 months. But typically in a totally balanced market, we have about 18 months worth of inventory on the market. Right now here in Georgia, Atlanta, we have 4.4 months worth of homes. That means we could literally sell every home on the market in 4 months. That's incredible. Think about it. It takes 30 to 60 days to close a financing deal. If you finance a deal, you're looking at 30 days right there. So we have very low inventory, only 4 months worth of inventory on the market. That's incredible. That's incredible. It should be like 12, 18 months. It should take a while for us to go through all the inventory. But right now, we can blow through all of that inventory in 4 months. Crazy, right? But I wanted to make this point to let you guys know. Number one, part one, the first thing we have to understand in a seller's market is very low inventory. So we're talking 4 months worth of inventory. 1 quarter, right? A quarter is 3 months, a little over 1 quarter. So that means if another listing didn't come on the market, we would have no inventory in 4 months. Crazy, right? Why is that important for us to know? Because some of the economists, some of the experts in the business is saying at one point we had 1 to 2 months. Now we're up to 4 months. They are predicting that in months to come, we will see COVID is changing, COVID is improving, right? We will see in months to come that 4 months starts to raise to 6 months, to 8 months, to 12 months, to back to normal. Some economist says, give us 12 months, we'll be back to normal. Okay, some are saying 18 months, we'll be back to normal. Some is saying 9 months, we'll be back to normal. Here's why this is very important, especially to everybody in my coaching program. Every week, we have a coaching session. And I'm going to be telling you guys during that coaching session how many months we have, how that number is changing. So as that number change, especially approaching 2022, while that number change, we can start to adjust our strategy, adjust our business plan. Is this important? Does this make sense? Because we want to start to adjust and change our business plan as the numbers change. So 9 months, 12 months, 18 months from now, if we are back to a normal market, or if it flips to a buyer's market, we don't want to be doing the same thing as in the seller's market. Number one, we understand the seller's market. Wonderful questions. Let me check out my chat. Questions. Nothing in my chat, no Q&A. Wonderful. So now, number two, part two. Let's talk about part two. Part two, the most important thing in a seller's market is when you have a buyer and when you have buyers, right? The second most important thing we have to do is, okay, part one, we described and we understand the seller's market. The second thing we have to do with our buyers is we have to explain the market and we have to set expectations. Because so many times our buyers put in a lot of offers and they might not get accepted. And that can cause frustration. That can cause a lack of confidence. Sometimes if you're not careful and if you don't set the correct expectation on the front end, your buyer can get frustrated with you thinking you don't know what you're doing. When it's not me, it's the market, right? We may have to put in 2 or 3 offers. Yes, I know in a normal market. Yes, I know in a buyer's market, we can put in 1 offer, you negotiate, there's counter offers, and then there's a close. Yes. In this particular seller's market, we have to give our buyers the correct expectation so they don't get, they don't have a lack of confidence, first of all, in us. Second of all, you don't want them to get frustrated with you or to get frustrated with the process. So we have to set expectations in the early beginning. Here's the market that we're in, right? Here is what we have to expect. And we have to expect to use certain strategies for us to be successful. When I do a buyer's, or when you have your buyer's consultation, when you have that buyer's consultation, when you get that, when you get the buyer's agency signed, and yes, in a seller's market, you definitely want a buyer's agency signed. When you're getting that sign, that's the time that you need to set the expectation. This is what we should expect for this process. Here is the process, okay? We need to let them know our first offer needs to be our highest and best offer. No, we're not going to send in a low offer and then wait and hope it gets accepted and expect a counter offer. That's in a normal market. That's when you don't have a seller's market. That's in the normal market or in a buyer's market when you have counter offers and those type of things. Not in a seller's market. In a seller's market, we need to explain to our buyer. We need to plan on from the beginning putting in our highest and best offer from the beginning, okay? Your buyer needs to be ready to bid the highest that they can. Why? Why? Because in this market, there is a lot of competition. And next, very important, we need to tell our buyer, we should probably plan on putting in an escalation clause. If you're not using the escalation clause, first, let me explain to you what it is. Second, I would recommend that you start to use it in most cases. Here's the deal. An escalation clause says, I am putting in a offer for $100,000. And I will escalate my offer to 2% above whatever other offer you receive. So the highest offer you receive, I will raise my offer to 2% or 3% or 1% or 1.5% higher than whatever the highest offer is you receive. Now, let's talk strategy. Number one, if I'm representing a buyer and if that buyer is going to pay cash, or if the buyer is pre-approved for the financing, if they are pre-approved for 200, I'm not going to start off at 200. I'm going to start off looking at some houses for 180. So I have $20,000 worth of cushion. So I can now put in the escalation clause. Make sense? So I'm not, yes, I know back in the day when the market was normal or when it's a buyer's market is if you're approved for 200, you can put in an offer for 200 on that $200,000 house. No, in this market, if I'm approved for 200, I might want to start looking at some houses around 175, 180, because I know that I have to be ready to bid. I know I have to do my highest and best. I know that I might have that escalation clause saying I will pay 2% higher than your highest offer. Okay. With all that being said, I don't want to be at the top of my budget when I'm looking. I want a little bit of a cushion. Okay. Makes sense? All right. Question, excellent question. Somebody's saying, can I use a appraisal contingency with with the escalation clause? And the answer is 100% yes, you can. Two totally different stipulations. One don't affect the other. Okay. One does not affect the other. Somebody says, hey, Luther, what if the escalation clause go above the appraisal price? Go above the appraisal. Well, the mortgage company will not allow us to purchase a house more than the appraisal. Let me start there. The mortgage company will not allow us to purchase a property higher than the appraisal, unless we are going to put down cash for the difference. But if the property don't appraise, is just like in any market, is just like any deal, we have to negotiate. Okay, because we cannot buy a house. The mortgage company will not give us the money, right? If the property don't appraise. Excellent question, excellent question. Okay. All right. But I don't know about you guys. In this market, I would rather be number one and that property don't appraise because of the escalation clause, and we have to negotiate, right? Rather than to be the last guy on the totem pole. I didn't get the offer and I'm just looking for another one. Y'all with me? All right. Excellent question. Questions? The chat line. Okay, chat's good. Q&A is good. All right, wonderful. Excellent. Okay. No question in the Q&A. So let's go to number 3, my third point. Let's look at number 3 here. Number 3. There's not going to be any counter offers. So let's talk about this. We need to set the expectation, and we need to understand that what's going to happen is when we put in that offer, the seller might have 3, 5, 10 other offers. Okay. They have all these other offers out there, right? So since there's a lot of other offers, they're not going to just pick mine out the counter. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Luther, in a normal market, I put in an offer, there's a counter, there's another counter, there's a counter, we agree, we close. Not in a seller's market. In the seller's market, I put in my offer. This seller has 5 other offers, 9 other offers, 15 other offers. He's not countering. He wants the highest and best use. That's typically what? Higher than the asking price. He then accepts the highest one. That's why the escalation clause is so important. Since I'm not going to have a counter, since I don't have an opportunity to counter, I need to say, hey, I'm telling you right off the bat that I will go 1%, 2%, 3% higher than your highest bid. You got to do that right off the jump when you put in that first offer, because there's not going to be a counter. Okay, there's not going to be a counter. So you got to put that escalation clause in there from the beginning. Make sense? Next, pay everything, pay all closing costs if possible. Huge, 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 huge. Okay. If your buyer can afford the closing costs, please, ma'am, please, sir, have your buyer pay all closing costs. Okay, huge. Now, if it's not there financially, if we can't do it, I get it. But going into it, we need to let our buyer know, in this particular market, many times sellers are not paying closing costs. Let them know from the beginning. Talk to your lender. If they're paying cash, hey, we need to have some cash to pay closing costs. If they are a buyer, listen, we need to have some cash to pay closing costs, right? This is very important because we need to look at it. At the top of the food chain is cash. Next, conventional financing. At the bottom, FHA financing. If I have a listing and an offer comes in and it's cash, another offer comes in, financing. Cash is always at the top of the food chain. So if I'm doing financing, right, it's always best for me to tell our buyer, we need to plan on, we need to budget paying all closing costs. Now, if you don't have it, that's fine. If that's not possible, that's fine, right? We can still compete. I can still make this happen for you, but setting the expectation, we should plan on, we should expect to pay all closing costs. Now, as I said, cash is king. Cash is king. The top of the food chain, cash. Next, conventional. Third, bottom, FHA, right? So if you have a client and if they have the ability to pay cash or financing, and they could do either or in this market, cash is king. Why? Because if I pay cash, I can close quicker than if I do financing. Cash is king. All right. Now, closing cost is king. It is very important for us to try to do everything we can possibly do to sweeten our offer so our offer looks better than our competitors. Okay. Now I see here a excellent question. Luther, where does VA fit in the scheme of things? Well, we would go cashes first, we go conventional second, and FHA and VA, they're about the same. FHA, let's look at it from a seller standpoint. So the seller saying cash is going to happen quickly. I can close. Literally, you can close a deal in 7 days. Go to my YouTube channel, Luther Ragsdale TV. I have a training, a video on just closing cash deals. Okay. Cash is guaranteed. Cash is pretty much the quickest, easiest way. Next, you have conventional. You're putting down a bigger amount of money. It's not as much red tape with that conventional loan. That would be number 2. Then you have FHA VA. All right. Excellent question. Thank you for that question. Okay. All right. Nothing in my Q&A. Nothing in my chat. All right, number 4. The 4th thing I want you to learn today, the 4th most important thing we want to cover today is simply this: the lender. Now, I said cash is king. We don't have to even talk about cash. All you have to do is get proof of funds, close in about 7 days. Cash is king. That's the easiest way. Now, you have a person that's getting financing, right? Let's talk about financing and strategies we can use with the financing to get our offer accepted quicker than somebody else's. Number 1, this is huge. Most agents aren't doing this, but this is huge. You need the lender's assistance. At Platinum Real Estate, we have preferred lenders, and our preferred lenders have been with us 15, 20 years. Vice president of the bank. We have very, very powerful preferred lenders. That's who I prefer to use. Why? Because all lenders won't do what I'm getting ready to teach you right now. Number 1, you want a commitment letter from your lender. What's a commitment letter? Well, you got the pre-approval, you got the pre-approved. That's step 1 and 2. All right, they're pre-approved. Okay, you have a pre-approval. Great. But number 3, and here's something that's huge. That's a commitment letter. A commitment letter says, look, this person is in underwriting. This person is approved, good to go. The commitment letter is the top of the food chain. It does not get better than that. A lot of lenders don't give commitment letters. I don't know why. It's crazy. But if you want to compete, is if a seller gets a commitment letter compared to a pre-approval letter, they will always choose the commitment letter. You as a buyer, you want to sell the commitment letter to the listing agent. You want to get the listing agent on the phone, and sometimes you have to explain what a commitment letter is, because it is rather rare. Every lender don't give a commitment letter. Our vendors at Platinum Real Estate, they give us commitment letters, and you got to have it in this particular environment. Yes, in a buyer's agency, yes, in a normal market, we don't do a lot of commitment letters. It's not needed. But in a seller's market, get a commitment letter from your lender. Very important. Number 2, when you submit the offer, also submit the commitment letter. Now watch this, strategy. Listen to me. And ask your lender to make a call to the seller and say, Mr. Seller, this person is good as gold. I have all of the documents. I have all of their pay stubs. I have everything they need, and they have been submitted to underwriting, and they are approved through the underwriter. That's why we have a commitment letter. We have a commitment letter because this person have been approved by the underwriter that this deal is golden, this deal is gold. That will give the listing agent comfort. So they have the commitment letter and they have personally heard from our lender that this person is through underwriting. And if you accept this offer, this is going to happen because we have a commitment letter and the lender have made that call. Okay. The person is already through underwriting. You guys, huge, 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 and an excellent way for you to compete in this current market. Okay. Again, this is huge in the current market. Okay. All right, let me look at my chat line. Questions. Yes. The lender calls the listing agent. Let me be clear. The lender calls the listing agent. So you have a commitment letter. This person's in underwriting. This person's good to go. You submit the offer. You submit the commitment letter to the listing agent. Then the lender calls the listing agent and says, Mr. and Mrs. Listing Agent, Luther Ragsdale with Platinum Real Estate, his client, Joe Blow, whoever he is good to go. They are in underwriting. I wrote the commitment letter. Everything is good to go. Is if you accept this offer, it is just like gold. We're good to go. I am calling to give you the confidence, right, that this thing is good. And if you have any questions or any doubts, here's my name, here's my number, because I'm the lender, and feel free to contact me anytime because this is a green light. That's a win-win-win. The listing agent feels good. It helps you, the buyer agent, and it helps the mortgage company close one more deal. It's a team. That's who you want on your team assisting you. And yes, somebody said, hey, Luther, can you get a commitment letter on FHA? Yes, FHA, VA, conventional, all of it. You can do it, commitment letter. Any of them, FHA, VA, a commitment letter is a commitment letter. Okay. Question in the Q&A. Luther, what is the time frame with the commitment letter? Excellent question. That is a lender question. And that's something we want to know. Now that this person is through underwriting, we might not need 60, 90. No. We might not need 30 days. We might can close this in 14 days. We might can close this in 18 days. We may can close this in 20 days, right? Because we are already through a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the fine print with the underwriting process. So excellent question. Contact your lender. When you get that commitment letter, your next question is, Mr. Lender, Mrs. Lender, right? How much time do we need to close? And it's going to be a lot quicker because this person's already in underwriting. All we really need is just an appraisal. We get an appraisal and we're done. Okay. Now, every deal is going to be different. So the correct answer is contact your lender. But the goal of the commitment letter is to reduce the number of days that is going to take to close. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Oh, also, ask your lender, hey, since we have this commitment letter, do we really need a financing contingency? Booyah, bam, money in the bank. Let's think about this. We talk to our lender and we say, hey, lender, we have a commitment letter. Hey, lender, this person is in underwriting. Do I really need a financing contingency? This is huge because if my offer says no financing contingency and another offer have financing contingency, that means that, hey, this buyer can back out with this financing contingency. If I don't have a financing contingency, I am saying I am so comfortable. I am so confident. I don't even need a financial contingency. Shut up. That's power. That's power, especially in this seller's market. Okay. Number 5, you want a strong contract. Everything we've been talking strengthens that contract. Number 5, very important. We want to strengthen that contract. So we want to say, you know what? No contingencies. I've talked to my lender. Here's a commitment letter. My lender have personally called you. We don't even need a financing contingency. That's how strong my buyer is. Number 1. Number 2, I don't need 7, 10, 15 days for an inspection. I will inspect it in 3 days. At Platinum Real Estate, we have preferred vendors. We have inspectors that's preferred vendors. All we have to do is say, hey, you know what? We have my preferred vendor will do this inspection in 3 days. I would call my vendor and I'd say, hey, Mr. Inspector, listen, this is a tight market. This is a tough market. I am writing a contract. Can you inspect this property tomorrow? He needs to say, yes, I will put it on my schedule to inspect this property tomorrow. Also, it's not a whole bunch of houses on the market. He ain't real busy. He's not that busy. He can inspect your house tomorrow. So what do we want to say? Hey, I only need 3 days for an inspection contingency. Again, makes this seller feel good. No financing contingency. I can close in 15 days rather than 30 because I have a commitment letter. You don't have to worry about the inspection. I will have the inspection done in 3 days, right? Because once you get that inspection back, hey, listen, the deal works or the deal don't work. I'm not going to take 5, 7 days to get that inspector out there. I will get that inspection out there tomorrow. Here's another one. A lot of lenders are not requiring appraisals. There's lenders out there right now. There's certain programs, they're not even requiring an appraisal. Now, it's very important to talk to your lender, but there's programs out there now where the lender's saying, hey, the market is going so well, we don't require an appraisal. Here's another one to make your contract very, very strong. Give your seller extra time to move out without renting. Yes. Typically, if I close on Monday, your rent starts on Tuesday, and you pay me rent for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every day that you stay there, Mr. Seller, you have to pay me rent, right? You have to pay me rent for every single day. Okay, in this market, maybe I will say, you know what? If you need to stay there extra 3 days or you need to stay there a week, no problem, Mr. Seller. You can stay there and you do not have to pay me rent. Powerful. Now, see how I am making my contract a lot stronger than my competitors. Okay? And now, last but not least, number 6, put together your buyer's story. This is very, very important. Number 6, the final thing is put together your buyer's story, right? I have had buyers actually write a letter and even cut a video of this is me, this is my story, this is why I'm moving, this is what I'm going to do. And it just reinforces the overall situation of the story of the contract of the plan, right? So the seller actually gets to know the buyer from a more personal standpoint. So look, this person's pre-approved, they have a commitment letter, they can close very, very quickly. They're not asking for a long inspection process, inspection only for 3 days. These folks are very, very strong financially. Hey, the listing agent actually received a call from the lender. That's very, very rare. Agents aren't doing this. Plus, they receive a letter. Plus, they receive a video. And very important, ask the listing agent to give it to their sellers, right? This is a letter and this is a video, not only for the listing agent, but also for the sellers. We have went the extra mile, the extra 9 to say, Mr. Seller, I am serious. And if you accept my offer, this thing will close, okay? Most agents, they're not doing this, you guys. They're not doing it. And this is giving you a leg up. Now, if you're selling another property, very important. If you have another property for sale, you want a firm closing date. If you submit an offer and you say, look, we have to sell this property in the future. We have to sell this property tomorrow, right? We are going to put it on the market. We are going to list the property. Trust me, your offer is at the bottom of the list. You do not want to say, I am going to list the property. You want to say the property is listed, the property is under contract, we have accepted another offer, and the closing date is going to be on this date. That's what's important to give you a strong offer for the seller. Okay. Questions. Are there certain fair housing rules and regulations that we need to be aware of when submitting letters? Well, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your buyers. So you want to make sure, but that you're not talking about personal information or how much money they make or any of those type of things. No, you don't want to do those type of things. So you want to obviously be ethical, and you want to make sure that you take care of your buyer's best interest, but that's always right. Okay, it says some listing agents specify no, but in the private remarks, no personal letters are allowed. How do we circumvent that? Also, can we as buyer agents or request that we be allowed to present the offer to the seller with the listing agent present? And the answer is, if a listing agent says, hey, I don't want any letters, I don't want to know anything about the buyer, and they put that in the private remarks, respect that. Because if you do not respect that, they will be upset because you're not being obedient to their wishes, and they will not submit your offer. There's not really a way to circumvent it. You can tell them verbally, hey, my buyers are strong, and this is my buyer's story, and da-da. But if they say no letters, don't do it. There's no way to circumvent it. Don't do it. The one thing that I do at all times, whether it's a buyer's market, seller's market, I always tell the listing agent, hey, my buyers are strong, they're confident, we are serious, and we are ready to buy now. I always let the listing agent know that in a strong seller's market. Can we ask to be present when they submit the offer? The answer is yes. I don't know if it helps us a lot. Also, you have to think about this from the listing agent's standpoint. They're a licensed professional, And many times we have egos, and many times, you know, the listing agent might not want you present when they submit the offer to the seller. I guess the correct answer is, can you ask to be present when they submit it? Yes. Will it help your situation? I don't know. I don't think that's going to really help your situation to be present, because the seller is going to want to talk privately to that listing agent who represents them, and they trust that listing agent. So you being present, you are kind of the third man in the room, and ultimately the seller is going to want to talk privately and intimately with his agent that he trusts and that he have a relationship with. So I'm not for sure if it's going to help you tremendously to be present when he submits the offer. Plus, remember, he is submitting many offers typically. So I don't know if that's going to be the best strategy for you. But your answer is, can you request it? Yes. Is that in your buyer's best interest? I don't know. Okay. So I don't know. Okay. And understand, or remember this. If an agent says don't submit the letter, don't submit it, right? Don't get that caught up on the letter. If the agent says no, no. If the agent, you know, agents always have stipulations to how they want to run their business. Some agents say, don't send a letter. Fine, don't send it. Some agents say, hey, you can only show the property on the weekend. We'll only show the property on the weekend. Some agents say, there's no lockbox. I have to personally meet you at the house. Well, then personally meet them at the house. So if the listing agent have specific rules, follow the agent's rules. Make sense? And if they don't want a letter, no big deal. That's just one strategy of many, right? So you still do everything else, and maybe you just don't do the letter. No big deal at all. Make sense? Okay. All right. All right, questions, anyone? Questions? All right. So, question, let me launch a poll. I want to launch a quick poll. Did you learn anything today? Did you learn anything? Hopefully you learned something from me today. Did you learn anything? If you learned something and if you enjoyed this, please rank it a 5. You know that I shoot for 5s. So please answer the poll. Please, ma'am, please, sir, answer that poll on your screen. How would you rank this training? 1 being not so great. 5 being Luther, it was great. I learned something today. All right, please rank the training on the screen. I'm going to leave it up there just for a couple of more minutes. I see I have just a couple of people who still need to answer. Please rank that training on the screen. You know, I work very, very hard to work for those 5-star reviews. While you guys do that, please, couple of things. You're going to receive a review via email, via text. It'll be a Google review. Please, ma'am, please, sir, I would love to receive a 5-star review. Again, please, ma'am, please, sir, when you receive that email, when you receive that text message, I would love to receive that 5-star review. That's number 1. Number 2, go to my website, lutherragsdale.com, for upcoming training, upcoming events, webinars, workshops, boot camps. Go to my website, lutherragsdale.com, and register right now. And last but not least, please go to my YouTube channel, Luther Ragsdale TV. Luther Ragsdale TV. Please subscribe. I have about 7 to 10 videos that I am cutting every single week, and I would love for you to get each and every one of them. Go to my website no, excuse me, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe today. All right. So hopefully this is just the beginning of our relationship. I would love to see you at more of my live events. I would love to see you at my next webinar, workshop, and or boot camp. Let's stay in touch. LutherRagsdale.com. All right. Okay, it looks like, I think somebody have their hand up. Okay, let me see here. Did somebody have their hand up maybe? No, I don't see any hands up. It was flashing at me that somebody's hand was up, but looks like no hands up. Oh, here's something in my chat. Oh, thank you. All right, you guys, thank you. Thank you very much. We will talk soon. Thank you for your time this afternoon. All right. Hopefully I was a blessing to you because you're always a blessing to me. Talk to you soon. Let's stay in touch. See ya.